The grand chamber of the Galactic Council trembled with chaos. Countless voices clashed in a storm of languages as translation engines strained to keep up. Ambassador Kell stood at the center, his blue plumage bristling in fear. "Please, hear me!" Kell shouted, his voice cutting through the uproar. The hall gradually quieted as eyes turned toward him. His hands quivered while he activated the holographic array above. Scenes of devastation filled the chamber, burning metropolises, shattered starships adrift in space, millions fleeing in terror. The gathered delegates recoiled as one horrific image followed another. "This is all that remains of our outer colonies," Kell said in a hushed tone. "The Ravagers appeared 3 months ago. They left nothing behind." Elder Trix, a being of living crystal, stepped forward, her body glowing softly. "How many worlds have fallen?" 17, Kell answered grimly. 17 entire systems erased. A shocked gasp rippled through the chamber. The Valari were among the oldest and most peaceful civilizations in the galaxy, their colonies flourishing for millennia without war. "And your defense armadas?" asked Diplomat Voss, a towering figure with tentacled arms. Kell's shoulders slumped. "Destroyed in the first week. Our vessels were crafted for exploration and commerce, not combat. Our weapons could not even dent their armor." The hologram shifted, displaying a Ravager ship. It was an abomination of flesh fused with steel, its structure pulsing with malignant energy. Every surface bristled with weaponry, the hull itself seeming to breathe. "They are not like us," Kell pressed on. "They do not seek territory or wealth. They devour all they encounter. They seize our people, twisting them into more of their own. They are a contagion spreading across the stars." Minister Gran of the pacifist Alterans rose, gesturing urgently with his forearms. "Surely, united, our fleets can withstand them. We command thousands of ships." "We tried," replied Admiral Nix, commander of the Council's forces. His scarred face bore the weight of defeat. 3 weeks passed. We assembled every available vessel, 2,000 warships from 12 species. We confronted them at the Quran system. The chamber went still. Quran had been one of their strongest bastions. "We lost 800 ships in the first hour," Nix continued. "Their firepower tore through our shields like parchment. Our strikes barely scorched their hulls. They fought as if it brought them joy." "Then what option remains?" Trix asked, her crystalline form flickering with unease. Diplomat Voss lifted a tentacle. "There are forces we have yet to consider. Species banned from this council for their savagery." The room chilled. Every delegate knew his meaning. "The restricted archives?" Voss said gravely. "The Deathworld species." "Absolutely not," Kell snapped. "Those beings are nightmares. They were sealed away to protect every civilized race." "But they have lived and breathed war," Voss countered. "Their entire evolution is survival through conflict." "Perhaps," Trix cut in, her glow dimming. "But have you studied their records? Humans of Earth dwell upon a planet that would kill most of us within minutes. Their air is toxic, their storms are lethal, and the world itself teems with predators designed only to stalk and slay." Minister Grun inclined his head solemnly. "They consume living beings as food. They wage wars as sport. Their arsenals can erase entire cities. They embody everything we have evolved beyond. And yet, they succeed," Voss murmured. At once, the chamber dissolved into uproar. Some delegates urged outreach to the Deathworlders, while others recoiled at the very notion. In the midst of shouting, a new transmission arrived. The hologram flickered, revealing the Valerie colony world of Bright Shore. Once radiant with crystalline cities sparkling beneath twin suns, it now burned. A lone Valari survivor appeared, feathers torn and bloodied. "This is colony leader Shan of Bright Shore. The Ravagers have breached our last defenses. They are within the cities. We hear them in the tunnels. Please, anyone, Help us! We have children, we have families, please! The signal broke into static. Then the image shifted, showing the Ravagers themselves, grotesque fusions of flesh and steel, hunting with primal grace. They tore crystal towers apart with clawed hands, the chamber filled with the screams of the dying. That was our last great Valari colony, Kel whispered, tears streaking his face. 2 million lived there yesterday. Today they are gone, or worse. Silence gripped the chamber until Admiral Nix spoke grimly. We are out of options. Our fleets cannot halt them. Our envoys cannot reason with them. Our science cannot rival them. What of evacuation? Asked Minister Grun. And where would we flee? Kel countered. They've already pushed beyond Valari space. Alteran outposts report attacks. Sil mining stations have gone silent. This is no longer just about my people. Elder Trix dimmed, her crystal form flickering faintly. How long until they reach the core worlds? At their pace, Admiral Nix answered. 6 months, perhaps less. The weight of his words settled like a shroud. The core worlds, home to billions, the seat of galactic unity, were under threat. We must face reality, Voss said. We are an alliance of peace. We were never built to wage war. We crafted a society from cooperation and trust. But the Ravagers understand only strength. Then what are you proposing? Kel demanded. That sometimes monsters must fight monsters, Voss replied coldly. The chamber froze. Everyone knew the peril of that path. The Deathworld species had been sealed away for cause. They were violent, erratic, and perilous. Yet another urgent transmission arrived. Ravager warships closing on the Alteran homeworld. At last, Elder Trix spoke, her crystalline glow trembling. We must vote, all in favor of contacting the forbidden species. Slowly, hands, tentacles, and countless appendages lifted. The vote was divided but decisive. Kel shut his eyes, drawing a long breath. So be it. Dispatch the signal to Earth. May whatever gods remain show us mercy. As the distress call was prepared, none in the chamber foresaw what awaited them. They believed they were summoning monsters for aid. They had no idea they were summoning their salvation. The signal raced into the void, carrying the desperate plea of a galaxy on the brink. Somewhere across the stars, it would reach a small blue world, home to apex predators who had learned to be more than killers. The message contained only 2 words: help us. The reply would alter everything. 3 days had passed since the distress call left the council chambers. 3 days of watching, waiting, and hoping that someone might answer. At the far edge of Valari territory, a monitoring station caught the first sign, one ship emerging from faster-than-light travel in a blaze of warped space and blinding light. Toll, a young sensor operator, stared at his screen in disbelief. Commander, we've got a contact, unknown vessel. Commander Vil hurried to the console. Show me. The image filled the display, and both Valari instinctively stepped back. Unlike their sleek, curved ships of comfort and grace, this vessel was forged of harsh angles and ruthless design. Its blackened hull bore scars and patchwork repairs, evidence of countless battles. Cross-check the registry, Vil ordered. Already did, sir. Nothing matches, but the energy readings... Tull faltered. This can't be right. That single ship outputs more power than our entire defense fleet. Open a channel. The screen flickered, revealing the bridge of the alien craft. The figures that appeared froze the Valari in fear. Tall bipeds with pale skin and dark hair, their eyes sharp with predatory intellect. The one at the center stepped forward, radiating command. His voice was steady, yet edged with steel. This is Captain Rick Torres of the human warship Retribution. We received your distress call. State your emergency. Vil's throat tightened. These were the Deathworlders. the exiles, the monsters locked away from the stars. And yet here, they stood, calmly asking what was wrong as though this were routine. "Captain Torres," Vil managed, feathers trembling, "we are honored by your reply. The situation is complex. Perhaps a formal meeting with our leadership is necessary." Torres gave a curt nod. "Understood. Transmit neutral coordinates. We'll arrive in 6 hours." The transmission cut, leaving silence. 6 hours, Tall whispered. "That route should take at least 2 days." Vil was already signaling. "Send word to Ambassador Kell. Tell him the humans are here, and they move faster than anything we've ever imagined." Aboard the Retribution, Captain Torres studied the glowing tactical display. Around him stood veterans of countless campaigns, men and women forged in war. "Here's what we know," Torres began. "The enemy call themselves Ravagers. In 3 months, they've consumed 17 star systems. Local defenses collapsed almost immediately." Lieutenant Maya Cross, tactical officer, analyzed the schematics. "Biomechanical design. They fuse living tissue into their hulls. Explains why energy weapons barely harmed them." Chief Engineer Tom Blake snorted. "Their mistake. Living matter always has weaknesses. Temperature shifts, chemical agents, tailored electromagnetic pulses. Plenty of ways to kill something half alive." Torres nodded. "And their combat doctrine?" "Classic predator strategy," Cross replied. "Pack hunting, overwhelming force, psychological warfare. Brutal against prey species, but predictable." "Excellent. Status of our munitions?" Torres asked. Blake grinned fiercely. "Fully stocked. Kinetic penetrators, high explosives, plasma charges, plus a few of our little surprises. We're ready for war." Torres glanced at each face. Around him, every crew member was human. "Correct," Kell said gravely. "We estimate 6 months until they reach the center of our civilization." "They won't make it that far," Torres said flatly. The confidence in his voice startled the alien leaders. "Captain, Trix said cautiously, "Perhaps you don't comprehend the scale. The Ravagers command hundreds of ships. They've annihilated every defense we've mounted." Torres met her crystalline gaze without flinching. "With respect, ma'am, it's you who doesn't understand. You've been reacting like prey trying to flee a predator. That strategy always fails." "Then what do you propose?" Voss asked, voice tense. "Simple," Torres said. "We hunt them." The words struck the chamber like a thunderclap. To prey-born species, hunting belonged to their nightmares. "But they're too many, too strong," Kell protested. "Tell me, Ambassador," Torres leaned back. "What do you know of Earth?" "That it's a death world. Toxic air, violent climate, dangerous life." "All true," Torres agreed. "But you missed the essence. Earth is a crucible where everything kills everything else. Predators, storms, even the land itself. We didn't evolve to be the strongest or the fastest. We evolved to be the cleverest killers on a planet filled with killers." "Captain, shall I?" Lieutenant Cross asked. Torres nodded. Cross activated her display, dissecting Ravager movements. "They rely on brute force because it's always worked. But tactically, they're sloppy. They cluster together, leave gaps in coverage, and lean too heavily on fear." "Fear terrifies prey," Torres added. "It does nothing to predators." Blake leaned in. "And their biomechanical hulls? A liability. Living tissue requires balance. Shift temperature, use chemical agents, pulse the right EM frequencies. Suddenly, their ships aren't indestructible." The aliens listened in awe as the humans discussed the annihilation of monsters that had terrorized half the galaxy. "So you truly believe you can stop them?" Kell asked quietly. Torres rose. "Ambassador, we won't just stop them, we'll erase them." As the meeting ended and the humans prepared to depart, Torres turned back at the hatch. "One more thing. You should warn your people about what they'll witness. We don't fight polite wars. We don't care about appearances. We'll do whatever it takes to keep you alive. What exactly does that mean? Trix asked nervously. Torres smiled, and it was not reassuring. It means the Ravagers are about to learn why Earth is a death world. The Retribution glided through the void like a predator stalking unseen. On the bridge, Torres studied the tactical chart of Ravager patrols. 2 days observation, Cross reported. Same pattern every 12 hours. 3 ships in a triangle formation. Lazy, Blake muttered. No variation, no adaptability. They expect fear. Torres nodded slowly. The Ravagers had grown comfortable with panic and retreat. That complacency would be their undoing. Dr. Park, Torres said evenly. Your analysis? Cross looked concerned. Sir, if they bring their entire fleet against us, Torres didn't flinch. Then they'll save us the trouble of hunting them down system by system. Blake chuckled darkly. Efficient. Park glanced up from her console, worry etched across her features. Captain, we're talking hundreds, maybe thousands of ships. Even with their weaknesses, numbers like that matter. Torres turned toward her, his expression calm, predatory. Numbers matter when you're prey. When you're predators, it just means more targets. The bridge crew fell silent for a moment, the weight of his words settling in. Sir, Cross said carefully, if their main fleet arrives, we'll need to hit them before they finish regrouping. Once they form up, we'll be looking at a wall of firepower even Retribution can't dance around. Torres nodded slowly. Exactly. Which means we don't wait. We push harder. We bleed them before they know what's happening. And when their fleet arrives, they'll be limping, scattered, and half panicked. Blake grinned. And then we burn the rest. This could naturally lead into the mid-arc climax of your story. Humanity shifting from surgical ambushes to strategic level, psychological warfare, shattering not just Ravager ships, but their belief that they're untouchable predators. Then we'll have every target gathered in one place, Torres finished, far more efficient. The bridge went quiet as the crew absorbed his words. They were one ship against hundreds, and their captain treated it as though it were an advantage. Sir, Blake began cautiously, the odds are only what we decide. Torres cut in. These Ravagers have been terrorizing peaceful worlds for too long. They think themselves the apex predators of this sector. He turned, his gaze sweeping across the crew. In his eyes, they saw the reflection of why humans had always been feared across the stars. It's time we show them what true predators are. The hunt had only begun, and the Ravagers were about to learn there were horrors greater than their hunger. They were about to meet a species forged by millions of years of relentless killing, and one that had chosen to wield that instinct in defense of others. The Retribution adjusted course, arrowing toward the gathering enemy fleet. Behind them drifted the ruins of 6 Ravager ships, silent proof of one undeniable truth. The hunters had become the hunted. The Ravager command dreadnought loomed in space like a festering wound against the stars. 5 times larger than any other in their fleet, it was a grotesque cathedral of steel and flesh, pulsing with malignant energy. Deep within its biomechanical heart, Supreme Commander Ka stalked the bridge in rising fury. Explain this again, Ka snarled, his voice a rasping fusion of organic chords and mechanical processors. Much of his body had long since been replaced, more weapon than living being. Fleet Leader Voss stood rigid before him, her cybernetic limbs clattering uneasily. 23 patrol groups destroyed in 4 days, she reported. Complete annihilation. Not a single survivor. By whose hand? Ka demanded. A lone vessel, unknown class. Smaller than our cruisers, but armed with weapons beyond anything we have faced. Ka's organic eye burned with rage. The mechanical one, glowing red. One ship dares challenge the Ravager fleet? The reports are consistent, Voss pressed carefully. It strikes without warning, eradicates entire groups in minutes, then vanishes. Our forces cannot react. Where is it now? Unknown. It is methodically hunting our patrols. At this pace, our perimeter will collapse in a week. Ka slammed his cybernetic fist into the console, warping metal beneath the blow. Recall every patrol. Form a wall around this vessel. If the pest seeks battle, it will face the whole fleet at once. Meanwhile, aboard the Retribution, Torres studied the enemy movements with cool detachment. The Ravagers were doing exactly what he expected. Fear made them predictable. "They're pulling back," Cross reported. "All units rallying around their flagship. Count, 217 ships." "Finally," Torres said. "I was tired of hunting them piecemeal." Blake glanced up from his station. "Sir, that's an ocean of firepower concentrated in one place. Are we certain about this?" Torres studied the tactical display. The enemy formation looked formidable, but carried all the flaws he anticipated. They clustered together, trusting. In overlapping fire instead of maneuvering. "Tom, remember what you told me about their biomechanical systems? That they require stable conditions?" "Yes, sir." "And if those conditions shift suddenly?" Blake's eyes widened. "The tissue fails. Systems collapse." "Exactly." "Dr. Park, status on our special package." She checked her console. "The quantum resonance device is charged and ready. One shot, but enough." Torres nodded. The weapon was experimental, never tested in battle, but Earth's scientists believed it could shift the war in an instant. "Cross, plot a vector, straight through the center of their fleet." "Sir?" Cross looked startled. "That will place us in their full crossfire." "That's the point. To end this, we must be close enough for the device to engulf them all." The Retribution advanced. Ahead, the massive swarm of enemy vessels filled the screen. Hundreds of biomechanical monstrosities drifting like a plague of machines. "They're hailing us," Cross said. "Put them through." The screen lit up, revealing Supreme Commander Ka himself, a nightmare blend of flesh and metal that even humans found grotesque. "K, Supreme Commander of the Ravager Fleet," he declared, "you have destroyed my ships and slaughtered my crews. I grant you one chance. Surrender." Torres stepped forward, calm as ever. "This is Captain Rick Torres of the human vessel Retribution. I have a message." "What message?" Ka demanded. "The hunt is over. Your reign of terror ends now." Ka's mechanical eye flared like a burning coal. "Arrogant insect, you face the might of 200 warships. What can one vessel do?" Torres smiled, and that small, unnerving expression made even a being like Ka hesitate. "You're about to learn." The transmission cut, and instantly the Ravager fleet opened fire. A storm of missiles and energy beams filled the void, every ship pouring its fury into the lone human vessel. But Torres had expected it. Retribution's defenses flared alive. Walls of intercepting fire shredded incoming missiles, energy beams, deflected in sparks of radiation. The hull shook under the bombardment, but its armor, built to withstand Earth's harshest wars, held firm. "Damage report," Torres ordered. "Minor scoring. Shield stable at 80%, Blake replied. "We can take this for hours." "We won't need hours. Cross, attack pattern Delta." The Retribution surged forward, accelerating straight into the enemy formation. Ravager ships struggled to adjust, but the human vessel moved with impossible precision, too fast, too erratic to track. "Now," Torres commanded. Dr. Park activated the quantum resonance device. At first, nothing. Then space itself seemed to shudder, vibrating with energy beyond normal physics. The effect was immediate. The field tore through the Ravager's biomechanical ships, severing the delicate link between flesh and machine. Organic tissues spasmed, nervous systems failed, and ships that had once seemed unstoppable simply died. The first to fall was an outer cruiser. Its living hull went limp, systems failing as it tore apart in silence. Then another ship, then dozens more. "It's working," Park exclaimed. "Their bioelectrical systems can't survive the resonance. The organic matter, is unraveling. On the Ravager flagship, Supreme Commander Ka watched in disbelief as his fleet collapsed. Vessels that had devoured entire star systems now drifted apart like broken shells. "What sorcery is this?" he roared. "What weapon have you unleashed?" On the view screen, Torres remained calm. "It isn't a weapon. It's science. Something your kind never bothered to master. Lies. We are the apex predators of this galaxy. We have consumed civilizations." "You're scavengers," Torres replied coldly. "You prey on the weak, but you've never faced true predators." As if to punctuate his words, Retribution's main guns opened fire. Each shot struck with surgical precision, smashing the command sections of Ravager capital ships. In minutes, their chain of command disintegrated. "Return fire!" Ka screamed. "All ships, annihilate them!" But it was futile. The quantum field had gutted their fleet. Over half their ships were already dead, the rest too crippled to fight. "Cross, target their flagship," Torres ordered. "End it. Locked, main guns primed. Fire!" The kinetic round slammed into Ka's command, dreadnought like a meteor storm. Its biomechanical hull, already unraveling under the resonance field, shattered. Vast sections vaporized in blinding flashes. Systems failed one by one. K's cybernetic limbs flickered and sparked as the field gnawed at the connections tying. Machine to brain, he staggered, whispering in disbelief. "This cannot be. We are the devourers. We are the destroyers." On his failing screen, Torres appeared one last time, his voice steady. "You were bullies, and bullies always fall when they finally meet someone stronger." The transmission cut. Moments later, Ka's dreadnought split apart and died, taking its commander with it. Across the void, the last Ravager ships tried to flee, but their crippled systems betrayed them. One by one, they fell silent and drifted, lifeless husks. "Fleet status?" Torres asked. Cross scanned. "All enemy vessels neutralized. No survivors." Silence filled the bridge as the crew absorbed what had happened. In less than an hour, they had destroyed a fleet that had terrorized half the galaxy, "Sir," Blake said quietly, almost reverently. "What now?" Torres gazed out at the graveyard of twisted steel and rotting flesh. Somewhere out there floated the remains of creatures who had spread misery across countless worlds. Suffering spread across countless worlds. "Now, we go home," he said simply. The mission was complete. Ambassador Kell stood at the observation deck of the Valari flagship, gazing into the wreckage field that spanned for light years. Shattered hulls and mangled biomechanical remnants floated lifelessly in the void. All that remained of the once unstoppable Ravager armada. "Is it truly over?" Elder Trix asked, her crystalline frame pulsing with unease. "Scanners confirm it," Admiral Nix replied, still in disbelief of the readings. "Every Ravager vessel is gone. The danger is over." A soft alert signaled an incoming transmission. The display flickered to reveal Captain Torres aboard. The Retribution. Behind him, his crew worked steadily, calm as though they had finished nothing more than a drill. "Ambassador Kell," Torres said with a respectful nod, "the Ravager fleet is no more. We've also shared data with your scientists on how to detect and counter their biomechanical systems." Kell struggled for words. Humanity had achieved, in 7 days, what the Council believed impossible. "Captain Torres, we cannot express the depth of our thanks." "No thanks are required," Torres answered firmly. "You called. We came." "But why?" The voice came from Diplomat Voss, silent until now. "Your people could have ignored us. You had no stake in our survival." Torres paused, then spoke carefully. "May I come aboard?" This answer is best given face to face. An hour later, Torres and his senior officers sat across from the alien leaders in the Valari Council chamber. The contrast was stark. The Council sat stiffly, still shaken by the war. The humans, in comparison, were composed, almost casual. "You ask why we came," Torres began. "It's fair. Let me explain what it means to be human." He gestured to Lieutenant Cross. Maya grew up on a colony world attacked when she was a child. She lost her family, yet chose to protect others. Chief Blake, Torres nodded toward him, lost everything to a plague. He became an engineer to keep others alive. Dr. Park's world was shattered by an asteroid. She became a scientist to prevent such loss again. Everyone on this ship has a story like that. "I don't understand," Kel admitted quietly. "Earth is a hostile world," Torres said. "Storms, beasts, even the ground itself kills. We became predators because survival demanded it. But we gained something else as well." "What is that?" Elder Trix asked. "The instinct to shield others." Torres's voice carried weight. Every parent who fought off beasts for their children, every watchman who guarded a camp through the night, every warrior who died to save strangers. We didn't only learn to kill, we learned to kill for someone else. Dr. Park leaned forward. "On Earth, the strongest predators are often guardians. Wolves defend not just for themselves, but for their young. Humans took that instinct further. We protect beyond our own kind." "But we are not your pack," Voss objected. "We're not even your species." Torres smiled. For the first time, the gesture looked comforting. "That's where you're wrong. The moment you called for help, you became part of what we protect." Chief Blake added, "Predators have a choice, to take or to give. The Ravagers took. We gave." Kel felt something shift in his understanding. "So when you call yourselves predators, we mean we are hunters and killers," Torres confirmed. "But we hunt those who prey on others. We kill destroyers." "The Ravagers thought us the same as them," Cross said. "They assumed Deathworlders would be mindless destroyers. They miscalculated. The worst predator you can face is the one that hunts other predators." The chamber fell silent as the meaning sank in. Finally, Elder Trix asked, "So, your predatory nature is what makes you capable guardians?" "Exactly," Torres answered. "We understand violence in ways peaceful. Species cannot. We know how predators think. That's why we stop them." Dr. Park activated a hologram of human history. Across ages, protectors thrived. Survival favored those who defended, not just themselves, but their communities. Protection is part of our evolution. "But you remain dangerous," Voss observed. "Extremely," Torres admitted. "The difference is in choice. The Ravagers were chaos. We are precision, focused destruction, only where it's needed." Blake grinned. "Think of us as problem solvers. The Ravagers were a problem. Now they're not." Kel rose, moving to the viewport. Beyond the glass, fragments of Ravager ships drifted, death scattered into silence. "What comes next?" He